Hello, welcome to the Daily Bark. This is Victor Vargas, and here we discuss ideas around composing art and life. And today, we're going to answer a question asked by an old friend I've had since 7th grade. Brad asks, what is going through your mind when you are sketching things out? From your brain to your eyes to your hands, what is the narrative that is playing out in your head? Now, he asked this question referring to this sketch I put online where I was drawing all these goats. And so the other day I found out that I have this cool little petting zoo 8 to 10 minutes up the road from where I live. We went up to this petting zoo and they have all of these goats and cool animals and things like that. I thought, man, I'm going to go up and sketch. I've always loved the idea of drawing goats. Since they're so close and I have as many goats as I want to draw, I thought, well, I'm going to go up there and work on sketching some goats. Now, I love goat drawing because for me, I love angles and lines in my work. And so I went up there and I started realizing all of the little complexities in their head. When I was sketching them, I wasn't really trying to draw a picture. I was just rapidly going through and sketching out all of these little goats, building upon each sketch. So I noticed that their little nose was in a certain shape, and then I would draw out the rest of the little goat, and then I would take that and I would say, okay, I got the nose down, but now from the tip of the nose, from the top of the tip to where the eyes are is a whole nother little hump, and then I would focus on that and then go to the next one. Okay, we got the nose, the bridge of the nose up into the eyes. Then the next one after that was added to the head. After that was I would focus on the horns. Sometimes there's just this beautiful shape, like this one goat had this cool little goatee and these cool horns, and it just created this really beautiful symmetry, and I just wanted to quickly capture it. Now, I'm not trying to sit there and render and trying to get all the proportions right. I'm just looking to understand what someone might call its spirit, the essence of the animal. And yes, you want to represent the animal, but I want to try to figure out how to translate what I'm seeing into simple shapes of triangles and squares, rectangles and circles and ellipses and things like that. I also very quickly think about the angles and the thrust that I'm bringing into the piece. That helps me then compose the work later on. So I'm going to think about my dominant diagonal. I'm going to think about my dominant verticals and horizontals. So in the little goat body, because they're so rectangular, they have this natural horizontal, very long necks, little tiny short legs. And so they kind of have these very interesting verticals in them as well. That's what I'm thinking when I'm sketching. I'm not trying to make anything pretty. I'm only trying to basically regurgitate extremely quickly ideas, understanding. I'm kind of feeling in the dark with my fingers, putting it to paper. So I'm looking at what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how the space around the animal and the shape that the animal creates roughly, not every little detail, but roughly, and the space around it. I want to jot that down on paper. That's taking a note. I'm just taking a quick note. And that's for me what sketching is. It's note-taking. It's brainstorming. For me, when you go into more refined drawings, now we're getting into sentence structures and grammar, and that's what composition really is. Composing your artwork is really like applying the rules of grammar and vocabulary to an alphabet. So your lines, your points, your angles, your curves, that's our vocabulary when we're sketching, drawing, doing visual things. Now, once I have that sketch, then I bring it through a whole other process, and that's actually what I sell, is a course on what you do when you have a sketch and how do you build a blueprint so that when you go to actually execute your work, be it in paint or whatever, you actually have a finished, complete composition ready to be executed on. And so in my course, I go through 7 distinct layers of design. And so these little layers are broken up so that you can take your sketch and walk them through all these 7 layers and come out with, in the end, with a confident, clear, and meaningful composition. that you can then transfer to your canvas and execute your artwork. So that's how I look at sketching. Brad, I hope that answers your question. I hope it helps. And actually, I know it does. So thanks for asking, man. And we got to get together soon. Ciao. Sketching is getting ideas down on paper and just managing and starting to get familiar with and understand and ask questions. All about the relationships. How does this triangle relate to this rectangle? How does this nose relate to this eye? How does the neck relate to the overall? And you realize maybe in this case that the neck might be the dominant thrust in the image. And how do you relate all these different things, the negative space to the positive space? And these are the questions you ask while you're sketching. And in the sketching stage is when you're figuring out all of these nuances. Do you want the eye to go up? Do you want the eye to go down? Do you want the eye to look straight? Do you want, what is it that you want the audience to do? These are also other things you would ask when you're sketching. So sketching is, in my opinion, probably the most crucial part of creating a work of art. It's when we are the most intuitive, when we're the most raw, when we're the most powerful. Everything outside of that begins to get fine and then even refined, more refined.